In the frostbitten history of the North, some warriors were whispered to lose their humanity entirely on the field of battle. They were known as the berserkir, men who entered a state of predatory fury so profound, they were said to be immune to pain and driven by an animalistic trance. Were these men truly transformed by the spirit of the beast, or was their frenzy a mastery of human psychology and physical endurance? Let us first listen to the story.
Sit closer to the hearth, child. The fire's the only thing that keeps the shadows of the old ways back. My father taught me the name of the ones who walked between worlds. They were the ones who truly knew the fury. When they entered the frenzy, the spirit of the bear took hold of their bodies. They were no longer men, they were iron. They felt no pain from the spear's point or the blade's bite. They were hunted by nothing and feared by everyone. The blood of the predator flowed through their veins. It was a gift from the gods, or perhaps a curse they could not break. They did not feel the iron bite of a blade or the sting of arrows, moving through the slaughter as if untouched. The fury flowed through them like a river of fire, an ancient inheritance that granted them the strength to crush bone and timber. My father spoke of the bear-clad ones, those who took on the beast spirit to become something more than just a man. They and their kin were not common soldiers. They walked in a trance where the mind fled and only the hunger remained. By the third generation, the spirit burned thinner, yet the shadow of that great beast still lingered in their very blood. They did not just fight like beasts. They were possessed by a frenzy that numbed their flesh against iron and blade, as if the spirit of a predator had taken hold. The men who took the name Ulfhedin walked with the heavy gait of bears. Thick spirits bound to the shadows of those great beasts, until their bodies forgot how to feel pain. When the spirit of the bear entered them, their cries became the growls of the wild. They knew no exhaustion, only the singular drive to crush whatever stood before them. They were the ones who could bite through bone and sinew, their teeth and hands becoming instruments of a hunt that did not end until the blood was spilled upon the earth. But the power was a heavy burden for the blood. To walk in that fire and stay within it meant losing oneself to the beast until only the hunger remained. They were marked from birth, some carrying the seed of the wolf or the bear deep in their blood. The gift was a tether to something ancient and terrible. To witness a man enter the frenzy was to see the spirit depart his body. He became hollowed out, filled only with a hunger that no mortal could contain. When the frenzy took them, they felt no sting of iron or bite of wood. They walked through blades as if the metal were nothing more than straw and autumn leaves. Those who wore the bear skins were not merely choosing a garment of war. They embraced the beast's shadow to walk where others would break and flee in terror. But listen well, for the father's blood weakens with the turning of the season. The fury is a fading ember in the lineage, growing dim as the years pass by. You must look into his eyes when he stands before the gate. The man does not feel the iron bite or the spear's thrust. It is as if the flesh becomes like stone. He is no longer a man of trade or harvest. He has stepped into the shadow of the bear, where the pain stays far away from his mind, while the blood flows hot. See how he moves. He strikes not with calculation, but with the raw hunger of a beast. No blade can stop him once the spirit takes hold of his heavy limbs. The older ones told me that this spirit was a gift from the ancestors. It lived in his bloodline. A flame passed from father to son until the fire grew dim. Now that inner heat is fading. The shadow he casts becomes shorter each season as the old ways recede and the spirit of the great bear retreats deep into the earth's belly.
Modern scholars examine these accounts not as myths of shape-shifting, but as records of intense human psychology. The transition in texts from supernatural transformation to descriptions of extreme physical stamina and mental focus reveals how the chronicles evolved alongside the changing Norse culture. Early terms like hamramr and igi einham originally suggested a visceral shift in the warrior's persona. While these terms are ancient, later sagas often swapped the concept of physical shifting for depictions of overwhelming strength and enduring fury on the battlefield. In works like Egil's Saga, the portrayal of the warrior becomes more grounded. Characters like Grim and Eagle are depicted not by magic, but through their intense, unyielding focus and the sheer physical power they exerted in moments of extremist combat. While some accounts mention biting an opponent's throat, a tactic also associated with mythological figures, These are observed as specific warrior techniques. They provide a window into the brutal predatory reality of ancient combat, where instinct took precedence over common restraint. Modern scholarship shifts our focus from supernatural transformation to the linguistic evolution of the term. In early records, specific words like hamramr denoted a state of profound fury and physical intensity that was perceived by contemporaries as a distinct psychological condition rather than magic. As centuries passed and the sagas were recorded, these descriptions evolved. In later literature like Egel's Saga, the term survived but shifted in meaning, moving away from physical shapeshifting towards a portrait of immense human strength and an uncompromising, reckless mental state of rage. Scholars analyze characters like Grimm and Egel as case studies of this transition. These figures displayed the raw, untamed power characteristic of a berserkir, yet the writers often omitted supernatural labels to focus instead on the visceral reality of their physical endurance during combat. While the term hamask once implied a transformation of form, modern interpretation views these as behavioral descriptors. These warriors were observed for their ability to ignore pain and strike with predatory intensity, behaviors that some scholars interpret as a specialized martial discipline rather than myth. In our current era, the search for biological origins, such as genetic markers for heightened aggression or pain tolerance in these specific historical groups, remains inconclusive. Currently, no scientific data exists to confirm a physiological basis for the berserker's state beyond what is recorded in traditional oral histories.